What is up, guys? It is Bachman again, here with another video. It has been a very long time since I posted a video. Race season has officially started. I'm going to be a little late on the actual racing and whatnot. I got a little bit of stuff to do to the YZ. I guess I'll give you a little bit of an introduction, what I'm planning on doing with it for this race season. And if you're catching a little bit of wind noise off the camera, I'm sorry. I'm obviously outside. And I'm using my phone as usual, so it doesn't get the greatest audio, but hopefully this video does not turn out terrible. This is a 1998 YZ 125. A couple of things that are not original on it. It has a set of 1996 YZ 125 front forks and a 2002 YZ 450F rear shock that was rebuilt by Pro Circuit. It has a heavier spring in it. I put that in about 2 years ago because I was a bit heavier. I'm still around 190 to 200 range, so the spring is rated for me, but I think it either needs rebuilt, it will need either nitrogen, or it might just need some adjustment. I'm not sure. It's a little springy, and I want to get that kind of dialed in for this race season, because suspension, if anybody knows anything about motocross, suspension is pretty much everything. A good combination between power, torque, suspension, and handling, so that's that. It currently has a 120 rear tire. I just purchased a Kenda Trackmaster 760 100 rear tire. 125s do not produce a lot of torque in comparison to the bigger bikes, or the bigger full frame bikes, I should say. So I'm going to get rid of the 120 tire on it, which is about 50% tread right now anyways, so it's a little low. I'm going to put the brand new 100 on it, so a little bit of less mass, and it should be able to turn that back wheel a little harder, a little heavier, you know, get a little bit more speed and bottom end out of it. It currently has a 52 tooth rear sprocket. I'm probably going to switch it out to a 51 because I think it has a little bit too much bottom end and not enough in the mid to top range. I ordered a Petcock Rebuild Kit from Moose Racing. The Petcock currently leaks quite a bit. It actually leaked the entire race last year, my last race. I just rode it like that. I was praying that it wouldn't fucking catch on fire, which I lucked out and it didn't, but I'd rather not have to deal with that. That is on its way. It should be here next Tuesday, and it is currently Saturday. A couple of things that it's going to need are the header gaskets, which I have, and it needs one exhaust spring. I think I have two sitting around, so I'm not going to mess around. I'm going to put both of those on. I'm going to change oil, check over the clutch plates. It needs a little bit of chain tension. It's a little loose right now. I also ordered a brand new air filter, a rear tube for that tire, and a rim strip just in case. It's always a good idea to replace those when you're replacing tires. The air filter that I was running last season had a small hole in it, and I just rather not risk internal damage to my top end, so I'm going to replace that. It's a Pro filter. They run about $10, as a twin air runs about $22. They're basically the same thing, you're just paying for the name. It's a pre-oiled filter, so I'll put that in there. Last year, if you can see on the right side fork guard, I put a what the hell is it called? Launch control device, or a hole shot device. It works okay. I need to do a little tweaking to it to make it latch a little better. Other than that, that's pretty good. I'm thinking about maybe repacking my silencer. I'm going to inspect it and see what it looks like. If it's really soaked full of oil, and or there's not a lot of packing left in there because it was sitting on a shelf for about 10 years before I bought it, so it might have deteriorated sitting and whatnot. I'll probably give that a check. I think I need to run a hotter plug because it runs a little bit rich. Either that, or I need to tone down my oil ratio. Other than that, it just has Pro Taper bars, breakaway levers, Renthal grips. I'm going to be replacing the grips with a set of Pro Tapers and Pro Taper grip donuts as well, because I was getting pretty heavy blisters last year. Has red spoke coats on it just to protect the spokes, give it a little bit of look without a lot of money. They're about $12 a wheel instead of about $100 a wheel for powder coated spokes and nipples. The front tire staying on there, that's a Sedona Sand Track or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. The front tire does good on motocross tracks. The back tire, considering they are desert tires, does not do the greatest, even though it's not a paddle. They're pretty hard compounds, so kind of ride shitty, but the Kenda Trackmaster should straighten that up quite a bit. It has a FMF Gold Series fatty and a FMF Power Core canister style exhaust, meaning it's the oval exhaust with the removable baffle. It's all one piece, so it has a really distinct sound for it. The silencer is actually for a 96. The expansion chamber is for a 2000. These bikes were pretty much the same, I believe, from 96 to 01 or 96 to 2000. I can't really remember right now, but it has a BRP top triple clamp. It's what is it, Billet Racing Performance or something. It's kind of like an off-brand triple clamp, but it's held up quite a bit. I put that on like the week I bought it. Other than that, I'm going to take the graphics off of the back fender, both the side plates, the number plates, the front number plate, and I'm going to be getting a restyled, more modern looking front fender. I'm going to take you guys off the tripod and give you a little bit of a walk around, and then maybe show you a little bit more about the bike. Other than that, I just got to get this thing going for this race season, and hopefully everything works out. So I'll take you off the tripod and then I'll show you. So a couple other things that I forgot. It has a hammerhead design shifter. I actually took this off of my YZ85 before I sold it, put it on this bike. It has a Moose Racing, what do you call that? Case saver? I think so. I think you call it case saver. Factory Racing Boys cover on both sides. V-Force 3 reeds. The original carburetor, it's a Mikuni Twix flat slide. It does have a different jet in it for the pipe. The air filters, I can't honestly tell the difference between a stock air filter and a aftermarket one, other than the looks and the name. So it has those as well. The top end was done before last year's first race, so it might have 10 to 15 hours on it. Hopefully it lasts pretty good for this season. It has a Wiseco ProLite piston ring kit and wrist pin bearing. I have TMD Factory Edition chain slider in the rear. That was a new one for last year. I wore through my other one. I'll probably get some new chain rollers, I'm not sure. This chain slider right here is all twisted, and it's actually got a crack in it right there. My camera won't focus. There you go. So the chain does not actually sit on there, and you can see how loose it is. It's supposed to have 3 fingers, and I could probably, yeah, I'm fitting 4.5. That's just a regular old steel sprocket. I'm gonna put the Moose Racing one back on it, I think. Stock foot pegs. It has a, I believe it's a Works Connection skid plate. That was actually on the bike when I bought it, so that saved me a couple bucks. Duval frame protectors. That's really good. Your boots stick right on the sides of those pretty good. Pro Taper fat bars, 1/8 clamps, ARC clamps on both sides of that. It's got a Tusk Racing top plate. These grips are going to be replaced out with Pro Taper stocks, and Pro Taper stocks are well, they're half waffle single density MX grips, but they replicate Yamaha OEM grips, and then those are the grip donuts. Those were actually already on the bike. I just took them off because I'm going to be taking these grips off. I didn't want to lose them, so I put them with the grips that I'm going to be putting on. Here's the pipe. It needs shined up a little bit, and then the other cover. It also has a Tusk Racing foot pedal for the brake. I need to do a little bit of adjustment with that. It has a 5.9 oil plug behind the kicker. Yeah, right there. It's scratched all hell because it's a pain in the ass to get to because it's right underneath the pipe. But that's how that is. These have the notorious wobble with the kickstart, so I might find a used one and try to rebuild it, or I might try to rebuild this one, or I've seen Tusk ones that aren't too terrible in price, so I might buy one of them. Also, it touches the pipe in 2 different places, back here and up here, so I might try to like shift it backwards a little bit so it doesn't get so rattly. There's the Pro Circuit suspension that I showed you guys before. This spring down here for the brake is completely shit. It doesn't do anything at all, so I'm going to be replacing that. It has oversized PWR radiators, and that's about it for the bike, other than getting a little bit of work done to it. I'm going to be replacing a seat cover on a different seat, because you can see there's chunks of foam and shit missing out of the side of this seat. And I'm going to be putting a new fresh set of numbers on it. I don't like the way the graphics look on the number plates anymore. The front fender is going to be replaced, so it's going to have no graphic on there. It'll look like the one on the 250R, like that, but it'll be restyled so that way my number plate fits in here properly, but it'll have the newer looking front, and it'll also keep some of the mud out of my radiators and stuff, because this is a vented rear fender. Great idea if you're gonna be like supermoto like racing, or if you're gonna be doing like flat track or anything that's not really muddy. But this thing kicks a lot of mud into my radiators, and they're a pain in the ass to clean, because I have the aftermarket radiator guards, so it gets really caked up in there, and then it won't cool properly. And I think that's why I blew out a top end last year's, because I wasn't getting proper cooling. I also blew out the bearing for the water pump. Other than me rambling on about this, I'm going to work on it a little bit. I want to reroute some cables and stuff, do some stuff that's not so janky. I'm going to be removing this graphic as well, along with the sides, like I said earlier. This is the canister style exhaust. It's an oval. It has the inserted spout, or the exit spout as I like to call it. So I'm going to pull all that out, see what the packing and everything looks like, and reassemble it. I'll clean it up a little bit. I might take the sticker off of it, just so, I don't know. Looks pretty cool. I don't know. It's an old bike. I mean, it was assembled in August of '98. I was born in August of 98. So this bike is almost 20 years old, or 21 years old. So for a 21-year-old bike to look like this and perform the way it does, this thing actually really rips, and it sticks right next to all the guys that are on the new 2018s, 2019s, 2017s, anything from like 14 and up are all pretty much the same, and this thing competes just as good, other than the suspension. Suspension's a little iffy. I eventually want to get it rebuilt. My big plans for this thing is completely strip the entire bike down, and then replace everything with 04 250F components, like the subframe, the swing arm, front forks and triple clamps, wheels, because you can get better looking wheels. I want to get like a complete wheel set. I want to get all the good performance suspension. The subframes are aluminum, so they're a little bit lighter. I think it drops about 2 pounds. The swing arms are about 3 pounds lighter, so that right there in total is 5 pounds lighter than the original chassis design. And it's square tube. It looks a little bit nicer. I'll probably get them polished and then powder coated clear, like the clear powder coat, or I might get it powder coated in black. I know I want to powder coat the frame in black, but this is way later down the line when I want to completely restore this bike, and it'll probably be over a winter when I have some spare cash and some shit laying around that I can do. Also, when my shop is not a complete mess, I'm going to be working on this today. This is for another video. I won't tell you what it is, but you can obviously tell it's a 4-cylinder vehicle engine. I'll say it's for a truck. So, but yeah, I got customer's motor over there I'm working on. I just finished a push mower today. I've just been busy. So, yeah, that's the 1998 YZ125 update, and hopefully you guys will get a little bit of video of me at the track, maybe at the practice track. I don't know. I got to get some better recording equipment and a couple other things. Have a buddy of mine possibly coming over today to maybe help me out with a few things in the shop. Got some sales coming in, hopefully, and whatnot. So the guy that might be coming over to help me out with some stuff is Mike Herman, aka the 717 Outlaw. He's on YouTube as well. You should check him out. Great quality videos if you like guns, vehicles, dirt bikes, motorcycles, four-wheelers. He's got a lot of good content, really good video quality, and he takes passion in what he does. He really likes doing it. He loves drag racing his Busa and his R6, his Tribute R6 for, I'm not sure his last name, but a guy named Harrison had passed away due to a drunk driver hitting him on a Harley. And yeah, rest in peace to him. I didn't know him, but he was very well loved in this community. So stay safe out there, guys. Race hard and keep the rubber side down. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.